Hey everyone, today, Fall DIYs, let's create Mr. and Mrs. Hayman. If you're new here, I'm Tonya, and if you're returning, welcome back. And I do hope that you all like, share, and subscribe. Okay, for our first one, we're going to take a wood block and a dowel rod, drill a hole in the center, and then I'm just going to tap this in here. I did put some glue down in that hole. Now you're going to take some pillow stuffing, and you see I cut out just a square. I like to use this really light ivory color of the muslin fabric, and you want to twist that up because you're trying to shape the doll head. And now I'm just taking a needle, keeping it twisted tight, and just sewing around the outer edges, cutting off the excess, and then you can kind of stitch back and forth across that. We're going to be covering that up with some hair, so you're not going to see that back part. Now what I'm going to do is make like this little cone shape that I'm going to fill with some pillow stuffing. And we're going to build a really cute little updo on the Mrs. head. And this is going to be a beautiful set of little dolls, everyone. I'm really excited to create these today. We're going to have the Mr. Scarecrow and the Mrs. Scarecrow. Now, this is a really neat concept, and keep in mind, I'm a hairdresser, so I love doing updos. We're going to create this one with twine rope, and what I'm doing, you can see, is I just kept wrapping that so many different directions. Now I'm going to kind of take that glue and go a little bit down sideways on the face, and this is going to make it look like she has like her hair kind of coming down on the sides of her face, which it makes it turn out so pretty. We'll finish it off with this last little slope going down on the side a little bit more. But everyone, once I get her nose and eyes on, she could not be cuter. Now I zoomed in because I want you to be able to see how I am stitching her eyes on, and I am using hemp cord. Hemp cord is what I like to use on my doll faces because it's waxy and it is very thick and it works wonderful and shows up great. Now you can see what I'm doing. I'm just making just a couple little tiny lines. And then once I get a couple of the lines, I go over to the other side and I'll stitch a couple more little lines, and that's going to be the first part of her eye. And then we're going to keep working back and forth and creating these real cute little eyelashes. But everyone, if you have not created a doll face like this, I hope you give this a try. It is such a simple way to create the cutest little faces. And you can do the whole face at one time and then just tie off your thread in the back. Now you can see what I did. I kind of pulled that out ahead a little bit, and then I'm just going to tighten it up, and then I'm going to make another little eyelash coming off to the side. But everyone, you can get so creative with this and make these eyes any way that you want to. You can even add little eyebrows, and you just got to remember where you're pushing your needle up through is where you're actually going to start creating the eye or the eyebrow or the eyelash. And once I get this the way I like it, we'll kind of go down through the face under the fabric, and we'll start creating her a little mouth. And while I'm working on this, everyone, I did want to ask you, would you like to have downloads of the patterns available to you? Let me know that in the comments below. Now we're going to start working on the mouth, and you can see I went right straight through there, and I'm just stitching lines across. I like to go in the stitch that I just did if I can, and that kind of makes the thread kind of blend together. And then I'm just sewing little stitches up and down just to add a little something different to her mouth shape. But everyone, this is so easy and so simple. I definitely hope you give this one a try. Now we're going to start putting some straw in her hair, and this is just some really thick little straw that I had picked up at Michael's, but you could use any kind that you had on hand. And I just thought it would look pretty to have the little bits of straw in her hair because she is supposed to be a little lady scarecrow. But everyone, we're going to be dressing her up today in a really beautiful long dress. And then this top part is going to have kind of big sleeves. And like I said, this is done on a piece of typing paper, so I can definitely turn this into a downloadable pattern for you. Now, I'm only cutting out the top layer, and the reason why I'm doing that on this one is because a lot of times when I'm working with stripes, the stripes kind of get offset. So I usually just take my top piece and then just kind of lay it on there. You can see how I'm lining everything up, and that way I know that my stripes are going to match all the way around. But this is another really simple way to make one of the tops for the dolls. And these sleeves, it just kind of gives that illusion like the sleeves are kind of those big ballroom type sleeves. And I just think it's another fun way to create this. But everyone, I have so many doll ideas for you. So let me know if you still want me to keep those coming through the fall and Christmas season. I will pop in some other DIYs. Now, I decided today to use that Gorilla Hot Glue on a lot of this. And it has been holding really well. So you don't always have to stitch everything like I do. So if you can get some of the Gorilla Hot Glue, it definitely does work on the fabric. I did let that dry a little bit before I decided to turn it right side out. And you just kind of have to tug at this to get it the way you want it. This one, it kind of turned out really well. Now, I was just laying that head on there to see what it was going to look like. Now, I took a doily that I coffee stained, and I just cut it into little pieces because I wanted to finish off her sleeves with some of. And don't forget to check at Goodwill and their fabric bins and the thrift stores. You can usually find some of these doilies, and I just stain them in a little bit of water and some instant coffee. But doesn't that make the sleeve of this look so pretty? Now, everyone, when I get her done, I make a very long skirt to go on her, and it just made her look so cute. So I hope you're still with me, and if you are enjoying this, don't forget to leave me a comment and a thumbs up for this video. Now you can see I just glued her head right on to the little dowel rod that was in there, and then I decided to add a little bit of that around her neck. And at first she started to look like a little clown, but I'm going to fix that here in a moment. I'm covering up the back of her head with some more of that rope twine, and then we're going to take some of that straw and pop in there for her hands coming out because she is a little lady scarecrow. And then we're going to do the same technique that I did on my last one. I'll leave that in the link below also. We're going to stuff the shirt area where I can start putting the skirt right up underneath her chest area to create a waistline. Now, I didn't have enough of that black and stained color checkered fabric, so I just added some of the just regular stained muslin to the back, but I still really like how this turned out. And you kind of tuck that down in, and you want that to be kind of flat across the top. And of course, I always cut the back of this off. But everyone, look, once I start attaching this on there and get that folded around, you can see how she just comes together. And I wanted to use these different colors together. And this was just a pack of this black and white colored little, I think it was the quilt squares, the 18 by 18 inch. And they had them at Hobby Lobby. And you can pretty much use any of the fabrics that you have on hand. I would just age them a little bit with coffee if you want them to have kind of this primitive look like I'm doing today. Now you can see I just glued the front and the back, and that's why I always cut the back of the dresses, because it's real easy to maneuver them. Now I took some more of that coffee stained doily, and I'm just going to pop that right around her waist area. And everyone, you can see how cute she is turning out. And I can't wait for you to see Mr. Heyman, because he turned out so adorable. Now I'm just going to go ahead and use that Gorilla Glue and finish these off here. And everyone, I was really happy with that. So definitely give that Gorilla Glue a try with the fabric, because it seems to be working well. And if I didn't say it before, you can see for the skirt part, you really just need to do like a fat triangle. I always like to leave extra fabric, and you'll see me here in a moment that I'm trimming it off to have more of that circle shape around the bottom, but that way you've got plenty to work with if you just make it a little bigger than what you need. And what I'm going to do to finish her dress off is I'm going to take another one of these doilies, and I'm going to cut that outside edge and just glue that around. And once we get her dress done, everyone, we're going to start making her little accent pieces. And I sketched out a little crow, and we're going to be making a crow and put some little flowers in her hand. And now here's the crow. I actually just drew that out. And this is the kind of thing that I would have available for you to download patterns of. So definitely let me know if you would like me to do that for you. And of course, again, pillow stuffing in there. That's what I prefer to use. I am using that felt scarf from Dollar Tree. That is the best thing to do when you're creating things that are black. Another little bouquet in her hand. And isn't she absolutely adorable? But everyone, here she is. And I think she looks absolutely precious. And I hope you enjoy this little doll. And I hope you give her a try, because I think you would enjoy having her in your home decor. Now, since this is a Mr. and Mrs. Hey Man, we're going to start creating our scarecrow. Now, same concept for this one, but I did have to add another block underneath because I'm going to make him sitting down beside her. And I'm taking some more of that felt from the scarf, and I'm just going to try to form a hat. Now, I'm actually going to be putting some other fabrics on top of this. I just wanted to use the felt so I could like build up some thickness on the hat. But this is a great way also to just make a snowman hat. So keep that in mind. But the fabric that I was going to be using for the hat was very flimsy. And you can see I wanted to make that hat where it kind of looked like the top of it was fanning out a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of that pillow stuffing in here just to give it a little bit of bulk. And then we're going to be taking some more of this coffee stained checkered fabric, and then we're going to be placing that over top of this. And I really like to layer my fabrics like that, and especially when you're designing like a scarecrow, because the more layers of fabric, I just think it makes it look that much cuter. But you can see how I'm doing that, everyone. I just kind of cut that out and glued it on top, and now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a little bit more of this checkered fabric right over to the top part of the hat. And once I get everything glued down, it looks really cute. And then I took another little strip that was a different texture and color pattern and just tied that around there for that part of the hat. Now we're going to start adding some hair to Mr. Scarecrow, and I picked up these little straw bundles at Michael's, and I really like them because they're very thick, and it made it really easy to tuck that hair up. Can you see how I kind of cut those at a point? I really think that made the hair on the Scarecrow look really neat, so that's a little tip for you to kind of cut those off and have the little edges of the hair pointy. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm doing that stitching technique with that hemp cord. And I'm just going to sew on some eyes and stitch on a mouth. Well, everyone, while I'm stitching on Mr. Scarecrow's mouth, I just want to mention thank you again to everyone that has been subscribing to my channel. And if you have been with me a long time, thank you so much for your support. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope that you see something today that you will consider doing so. And definitely let me know if you want to see more of these dolls. Now you can see once I got done, I pulled that through the back to tie off. Now I'm just going to take this kind of a gray colored fabric. I did coffee stain, and we're just going to make some pants for our Scarecrow Man. And that's basically a rectangle with the slit up the middle there. And then we're just going to glue off the sides and the inseam part. And that's going to make the legs. Now I started to make these a little bit bigger, but I wanted him to look like he was sitting, so I was not going to make the legs too awful fat and wide because I really wanted you to be able to tell that he was in a sitting position. And I just kind of stuffed that lightly. You don't want to stuff that too much, especially at the knee area. You want to kind of leave that with not too much pillow stuffing in there. And a similar pattern for his shirt. And it's kind of like just a T shape is all you really need. added some of the little gray around the sleeve part, and I'm going to put on a little pocket, and once again, going to be using my Gorilla Glue. And then I just decided to cut off a little piece of gray that kind of resembled like the collar of a shirt, and I just glued that down, just basically kind of adding all these different like little textures, and that's what I think makes these little Scarecrow dolls look so adorable. But everyone, I hope that you're enjoying these today, and I hope you stay to the end. I'll show Mr. Scarecrow when he gets done, and then I've got a short little clip of both of them together. But I just thought it would be fun. That's why we named them Mr. and Mrs. Hay Man, because I looked up older names for scarecrows, and Hay Man was one of the things that they used to call their scarecrows years and years ago. Now you can see I'm just gluing those sleeves together, and like I said, gluing it seems to work. I was really concerned that this wasn't going to hold, but it has been holding really well. And I think that is because it is that Gorilla Glue. Now, I folded this shirt up, and I really almost got it too short. So you may want to leave yours a little longer, because I did end up having to go back and add a piece of fabric, which I may have done that anyway, the way that it turned out when he was sitting on the little blocks. But I'm going to go ahead and stuff this a little bit just to add some fullness, and we'll pretend that he's stuffed with straw. And then we're going to start attaching these to the little pair of pants. Now, everyone, you have to cut that right there in the middle like that. That's how you're going to slide this on. It's just going kind of up the back part of the pants. And you want it to go up that back part because you want it to look like his little butt part is sitting there with his legs being able to hang over, because we're trying to make the illusion that he's actually sitting. And I kind of made his torso part taller because, you know, he's supposed to be bigger because he's the man Scarecrow. So now we're going to put on the little Scarecrow hat. And everyone, look how adorable he's turning out. Now we're going to go ahead and add some more of those little straw hands popping out. And then we'll add a little bit of that straw for the feet. And he's just about done. We're going to glue him down. I really wanted to get him in that sitting position, so I had to glue his legs. Here's where I had to add that extra piece of fabric because the shirt just seemed like it was too short. But it worked out okay because I kind of put like a little belt looking thing around his waist area. And like I said, you cannot go wrong on these little Scarecrow dolls, everyone. Seems like the more textures and stuff that you blend in, it just makes it look that much cuter. Now I'm just going to add a few little patches there on the knees, and then we filled in with just a little bit of straw here and there. But everyone, you can create these designs in any color. I just really like these, so these are the ones that I use today. This is that little Hello Autumn that I found from Dollar Tree. But everyone, here is Mr. Scarecrow, and he could not be cuter. So definitely let me know if you have enjoyed these today. These were an absolute joy to create. I've got him setting up in the office right now above me. And here is a little clip of Mr. and Mrs. Hayman together. And I think they make the cutest little vignette to display for your autumn season. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this today. And I will see you on the next one.